G'day, Bomber fans. Will we finally have the first squad for a hit-out of the year? A 28-man squad has been named to face the Bulldogs tomorrow in the first hit-out of the season. Before we get into it, some details for the game. So it's at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Don't bother heading out if you don't have tickets because it's sold out at Widden Oval. But it will be streamed live on KO, so that is good. That is how we'll all be watching mostly. It's a regular game pretty much, 4 30-minute quarters between two teams with extended benches. The teams consist of 28. All rules will be the same, and following that game there'll be a VFL match which will feature the players that from the AFL sides that aren't in this one. That game will start around 5ish and it will be streamed on Essendon's website. So the first one you can watch on KO, the second on the website. The squad is a really young one. Off the top of my head, 20 of the 28 are under 25 years old. Could be slightly wrong in my counting there, but either way, it's a lot of the squad is very young, which is fun. There are quite a few debutants or players yet to play. That's going to be a theme of the season. And also, before I start, tomorrow is a game, but it's a practice game where we just hone in on our style and what suits the team the most. We might absolutely smash the Dogs. They might absolutely smash us. Results do not matter with these practice games, so don't lose your mind either way. But let's get into it and talk the squad. Alright, so here we have it, going zone by zone. Now, this time last year, I was a bit disappointed because the first squad was really basic, but this is a fun one. There are actually 7 guys listed who have never played for Essendon before. We're going to go through it. I'll talk emissions after, and then the Bulldogs squad as well. So some things to note. But yeah, let's start with the defenders. Andy McGrath, Dylan Shield, who's going to be playing primarily in defence, we can assume. But we'll get a proper look at his role tomorrow and just how he'll play. Lewis Hayes, a huge chance for him to feature because there are some big names missing. Ridley, Laverty, Mikhail out. None of them are playing, so we're going to see Hayes exposed a bit, which could be fun. Jackson Pryor, his first game against another club in Essendon colours. Kane Baldwin is one of 2 SSP players playing. Will Hoare isn't named, but he'll play in the VFL match. Now, I said this the other day, but I do think this SSP battle is down to 2 now, Baldwin and Edwards, and this kind of confirms that. I think if Hoare was going to be a chance to play for Essendon's AFL team, he would have played here today, but he hasn't been listed. Big opportunity for Baldwin, though. You've got Redmond and Reid, no surprises there. Hopefully Reid gets through okay, but also young Angus Clark, he's been given the opportunity to play. Very skinny kid. I'm not expecting him to play early, but this is going to be a great experience for him early into his career, going up against some good AFL forwards, so that's exciting. The midfielders, we're starting with our ruck, Sam Draper. He's spending a lot of time up forward too. Elijah Sartas is one to watch as he continues his strong pre-season. Jai Caldwell successfully returned from that hip issue and is good to go. Zach Merritt, our captain. Ben Hobbs, now he's an interesting one, Ben Hobbs. He obviously gets the chance to play, but I wonder if that would have been the case with a fully fit list with guys like Durham and other players, Parrish playing. Tough to know where he sits right now, so this is a good chance for him to rise the pecking order. Same with Will Setterfield. He's in the same boat. I don't know if he'll be playing much senior footy this year, but there's a good chance for him. Archie Roberts on the wing, Nick Bryan in the ruck, Xavier Dersma on the other wing. Nick Martin, who honestly, he doesn't even have a set position. He could play anywhere. Don't know where he's going to play. That's going to be fun. And then Sardell Hawley, who's really coming hard for that round 1 spot on the wing as well. Great battle between him and Roberts, which I'll talk about later. But it's going to be an interesting watch for a lot of these players. The forward line, this is a really fun one and a really young one. So you got Kyle Langford, of course. Isaac Kako, I cannot wait to watch him play against quality defenders for the first time. Tom Edwards, now he's our other SSP hopeful from Perth. He's a forward up the other end of the ground to Baldwin, so it's going to be really interesting to see how he goes because he's so late to the party compared to Baldwin, so you feel like this is a really important hit out for him. Archie Perkins, who's marked to play that stringer role. Peter Wright, who desperately needs to find some form. Harrison Jones, who's recovered from that rolled ankle. Jai Menzies, Nate Caddy, who's recovered from that knock he copped the other day at training. So that's good because if I was unsure if we'd see him play, we get to see Caddy and Kako together, which is fun. Rounding it out, we also have Reece Unwin, which I did expect, but it's still really exciting to see him here. He's been really good in training lately. So we've got quite a few nippy small forwards there, quite a few good marking targets. It should be an exciting and young forward line, especially because the Dogs are a bit undersized in defence, so it creates a nice matchup on ground level. So who's missing from the squad? Obviously, Darcy Parrish. We had that news the other day that he was in doubt for round 1. Sam Durham was also ruled out the other day, but he's hoping to be back for the game against the Cats next week. That's the expectation, which is the same with Ben Mackay. He's had that little ankle niggle, but he's back in full training. Just didn't want to rush him, I guess. Mac Welfie's out for a while with a hamstring. Nick Cox has that lingering concussion. Davey has that knee. Jade Gresham is fully fit. He's playing footy tomorrow, but it's for the Indigenous All-Stars game in Perth, so he can't play, obviously, in Melbourne. The rest of the list is healthy. I believe not named, but not named to play, but because they didn't make the cut. Or most of them. There's a few other rookies to talk about, but the ones that are not named include guys like Todd Goldstein, Lamont Lowell, Kale Jarine, Vigo Vicentini, and of course there is that injured trio of draftees in Jaden Ewan, Archer Daywicks, and Zach Johnson. They won't be playing for the VFL tomorrow, but we should see the other guys like Jarine and Vigo play, so that's going to be a reason to watch that game. Lamont Lowell too. So yeah, there are quite a few guys missing with injury, but only a few of them are in doubt or confirmed to miss opening round. That is Parrish, Guelphy, and Davey. I guess throw Nick Cox in there too, because who knows what's happening with him. But the rest should be lining up to play next week against the Cats, which makes it harder for spots, which makes this game all the more reason to watch this one, because a lot of these guys won't be playing next week. A lot of these young guys, they probably won't have the opportunity to play against the Cats, which makes this week even more fun. On screen is the Bulldogs squad. I'm not going to go name by name. I'm just going to discuss who's missing and why it matters, because ideally we're playing a full-strength team. That is always the dream at this stage of the year. Even if we get thumped, it's better to play a full-strength team than a half-fit one with injuries, and unfortunately the Dogs have a lot of their starts absent. Starting with Bontempelli and Liberatore, though, who have been named, and that is the surprise to me. Now, I don't know if they're going to be in full minutes, because I was under the impression that they would miss the game, which was initially annoying, because I wanted Sartas to get an early chance against them. It's a good experience. So the fact they're named is great. Sartas gets to go up against them. I wasn't sure if that would happen, but it's good for Sartas and Hobbs to get this early experience. I'm happy with that. A few key players missing, starting with the backs. Liam Jones won't be there, which makes it easier for our forwards. Bailey Dale won't be there. Jadson Johannesson. So those are some big names. It means that Wright is probably going to be a marking threat, which should give him some confidence leading into the season. And on ground level, it might make it easier for our small forwards. Up forward, there's no Jamari Ugle-Hagan, obviously, but there is Aaron Norton, so hopefully Reed and Hayes both get to play on him a bit. Sam Darcy too. But yeah, it's pretty standard to see players in and out of these squads, even if they can play. Next week is the more important of these two practice matches, but it's still good to see both teams with star players around. I'm keen to see how our young players go against them head to head. That's going to be the fun thing to watch, seeing how these guys go up against some of the best players in the comp, because the Bulldogs, they're not a great side, but they do have some great individual players, which is a great learning experience for some of our young players. Back to our squad to end. Now, some things that I think we should be looking out for. Let's start with individual players. I'm going to have a close eye on anyone yet to debut. Isaac Kako, for obvious reasons, at the top of the list, but also guys like Unwin and Clark, who are so new to the club. Hayes and El Hawley, who will be wanting to play footy early if possible. Jackson Pryor, is he going to be in their opening round? This will be a great opportunity for him. So this is a great chance for these young players to impress. And then there are guys in new roles. Dylan Shield, how he fits into the team and how we work around him. Archie Perkins, who's going to be playing predominantly forward, I believe. Nick Martin, we're going to find out where he spends most time this year, because his position is so up in the air. Is it down back? Is it a wing? Is it in the midfield? Who knows? And then you got guys looking to take their game to the next level, like Sartas, Jones, Bryan, and Reed. These guys trying to cement their spot in the team, and then there's the positional battles. The wing is a great one. Robertson, El Hawley, who's going to get that spot? You got the forward structure, whether or not we're better off with Juan Ruck and Peter Wright, or if we look dangerous with Bryan and Draper swapping and sharing the load. The small forwards, there aren't many spots in the team, but you got a bunch playing. You got Kako, Menzie, Unwin, Hobbs if he plays there. Gresham's up in Perth, so he'll be looking to impress there. And of course the SSP battle, Baldwin and Edwards. Just what happens with those two. All it takes is one standout game from either of them, and they may have a list spot which could completely change the squad. I think the last time this happened with the SSP players playing in one of these practice matches was Nick Martin and Tex Wanganeen. I think it was against the Bulldogs, and they both lit it up and got squad spots. So yeah, there's going to be a lot to learn tomorrow. I'm really keen to watch this game. I'm going to have my review out on Sunday. I'm sure there's going to be plenty to talk about then. But yeah, thank you for watching a quick little squad update. I'm not disappointed with what we get. Plenty of new players to be watching out for tomorrow. So make sure you watch the game. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, go Bombers.